Good day. Welcome to Mayor King's TV News. I am Matsu Okwemitorishe and here are the headlines. Tinubu lauds Delta youths and women for their support. Oborevwori ACC hands over authority to Chief Party as he approves IDIMIS-based selection process for youth election. Fire raises Igbudu markets, shops and destroys properties as petrol storage tank fire kills 2 in Cocoa community. Senate orders 200 million naira compensation for Delta toddler killed by NDDC straight bullet. Davido and Charlie Poppy headline 2025 Afro Nation in Portugal. Dangote claims NNPC refineries may never function again. Judge blocks Trump's birthright order after Supreme Court ruling. Warri Wolves coach Aloma dedicates Npfl return to Governor Oborevwori. Now the news in detail. President Bola Tinubu has commended the people of the Niger Delta region, particularly the youths and women, for demonstrating solidarity with his administration and supporting the federal government's renewed hope agenda. The President's message was conveyed by the Managing Director of the Niger Delta Development Commission (NDDC), Dr. Samuel Ogbuku, during the Youth and Women Conference in Owerri, Imo State, as part of activities marking the 25th anniversary of the agency. Meanwhile, over 10,000 registered members of the informal sector, Artisans and Market Women Association in Delta State yesterday pledged to support the re-election bid of President Bola Tinubu and Governor Sheriff Oborevwori in 2027. The groups include Market Women Association, hairdressers, tailors, butchers, aluminium roofers and fabrication of the Nigerian National Masons, DJs, catering services, event planners, aluminium fabrication, etc. The Olaraja, head of Owerri community in Warri South local government area, Oborevwori SCC, has stepped aside, handing over authority of the community to a former chairman of the Warri North local government area, Chief Kofi Edomi Kate. This was disclosed by the Oborevwori SCC, who is also a chief in the Preston Warri Kingdom, as he made the announcement at Owerri Thursday, July 10th, while addressing a large gathering of Owerri indigents cutting across different interests. The Warri community head also approved the use of the IDIMS-based selection process as captured in the current Omaloro Youth Constitution for the conduct of youth elections in Owerri to foster future unrest like that which marred the last youth elections. It stated that the focus of the people must shift to youth empowerment, education and scholarships, as these are the true battles that will uplift the Owerri community. It thanks the Council of Elders for their unflinching support to him and all his sojourns as the Olaraja. In the early hours of Tuesday, fire raised down Igbudu markets in Warri, Delta State. Many shops, properties, warehouses destroyed by the raving fire. The Eshunupe of Warri, His Royal Highness Alhaji Zubaru Mohammed Tajuddin, stated details as to cause of the fire was yet to be discovered. In the meantime, anxiety has gripped a section of Cocoa community in Warri North Local Government Council of Delta State as residents flee to safe locations following a major spill and fire in one of the huge fuel storage tanks at a depot operated by Sharon Petroleum Nigeria Limited. The spill from the tank, according to residents, could not be contained by the firm and spread into nearby living areas in Cocoa, igniting a massive fire that sends people scrambling in every direction. The market in the vicinity was suddenly deserted as market women left their wares behind and ran for their dear lives. Stench of petrol permeated Cocoa community, compelling people to flee due to the fear of an imminent explosion. 2 young men, according to a community source, died on board a boat on their way home. Others on same boat were rushed to the hospital due to the suffocation from the petrol fumes that engulfed their hair. Cocoa residents said the fuel spillage could not be contained as the firm reportedly lacked facilities to evacuate the products from the leaking tank, resulting in flames filling the air with thick smoke. However, the Foundation for Earth Rights Assembly FERA, which visited the scene to ascertain the level of response by governments comprising the Ministry of Environment, National Oil Spill Detection and Response Agency, and National Environment Standards and Regulations Enforcement, said the impacted victims felt neglected. The Nigerian Senate has directed the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency (NDLEA) to pay 200 million naira in compensation to the family of the 2-year-old Ivan Onose Omorina, who was fatally struck by a stray bullet allegedly fired by the NDLEA operatives during a drug raid in Okpanam, Oshimili North Local Government Area of Delta State. This resolution followed the petition brought before the upper chamber by Senator Nedmoni Owonko, representing Delta North Senatorial District, who has led the call for justice since the tragic incident occurred on July 13, 2023. The child was killed during an operation at a suspected drug hotspot when the bullet fired by the NDLEA officials pierced a nearby shop owned by the children's mother. Ivan was hit in the abdomen while his younger brother, Eremosele, sustained a severe eye injury. Both boys were rushed to the Federal Medical Center for urgent surgery, but only one survived. Senator Wonko formally presented the family's petition to the Senate, which was subsequently referred to the Committee on Ethics, Privileges and Public Petitions. Chaired by Senator Neda Umaswem, after a detailed investigation and deliberation, the committee submitted its findings to the full Senate. At plenary on Thursday, the Senate observed a minute of silence in honor of the deceased and unanimously adopted the community's recommendation that the NDLEA compensate the grieving family with 200 million naira for their loss and the trauma endured. Now on the entertainment news. Popular Nigerian musicians Charlie Poppy and Davido performed on the opening night of the 2025 Afro Nation Festival. Afro Nation is a 3-day annual music festival founded in 2019 by an entertainment company to celebrate and showcase Africa's music and culture. It was reported that the 2025 edition of the annual festival kicked off on Wednesday night in Portugal. Charlie Poppy stole the show by bringing his siblings and other artists on stage as he performed his hit song La O, while Davido performed If, Fall, Damiduro, and Fire. Nigerian songstress Thames performed on Thursday night, while Burna Boy, Kamo, Mpela, Boba, and Dexter Dabbs will wrap up the festival with their performance on Friday today. Now on the business news. The president of the Dangote Group, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, has doubted the possibility of the state-owned Port Harcourt, Warri and Kaduna refineries functioning again. Dangote also stated that the refineries, which are under the management of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, had galled up to $18 billion, yet have refused to work. The billionaire businessman spoke on Thursday while hosting members of the Global CEO Africa from the Lagos Business School after a tour of the Dangote Petroleum Refinery in Lekki, Lagos. According to Dangote, the 650,000 capacity Dangote Refinery, which he built after the government of the late President Umar Yar'Adua aborted his acquisition of the government refineries, now has over 50% of its output dedicated to premium motor spirits, petrol, saying that even government refineries committed just 22% of their production to petrol. However, calls for privatization of the government-owned refineries under the management of NNPC intensified following the recent shutdown of 60,000 barrels per day Old Port Harcourt refinery, 6 months after it was declared operational. The Warri refinery was also shut down 1 month after the former group chief executive officer of the NNPC, Mele Kyari, declared it open in December. The Manufacturers Association of Nigeria said the refineries were a drain on the country's economy, calling on the federal government to sell off the facilities. Now on the foreign news. A U.S. judge once again blocked President Donald Trump from implementing an executive order ending birthright citizenship from U.S. residents as a legal challenge moves forward. A new Npfl judge, however, approved the class action suit, just Trump's executive order, and it temporarily stopped the president's order from taking effect. The class action lawsuit was brought by American Civil Liberties Union on behalf of immigrants, parents, and their infants. The decision comes weeks after the Supreme Court introduced limits on how and when universal injunctions are issued by federal courts. However, the decision still allows them through certain legal avenues. The class action suit was introduced after the Supreme Court decision in keeping with the new standards set by the court. Still, the White House challenged the validity of the judge's ruling, said it still would fight vigorously against what is said were attempts of those rogue district court judges to impair the policies President Donald Trump was elected to implement. The lawsuit argues Trump's order goes against the 14th Amendment of the U.S. Constitution, which established that all persons born, naturalized in the United States, and subject to jurisdiction thereof are citizens of the United States of America and of the state wherein they reside. Trump has sought to revoke that right for babies born to undocumented immigrants and foreign visitors as part of his crackdown on immigration. Now on the sports news. Napoleon Aloma, head coach of the Warri Wolves, has dedicated his team's return to the Nigerian Premier Football League (Npfl) to the Delta State Governor, His Excellency, Right Honorable Sheriff Oborevwori. The Seasiders pipped Crown FC 2-1 in their final Group B Southern Conference match of the 2024/2025 Nigerian National League (NNL) Super 8 playoffs on Thursday at the Stephen Keshi Stadium, Asaba, to seal a return to the Nigerians' top fight. Wolves lost their opening game 0-1 to Osun United, but bounced back with a 3-0 thumping of Con Caliphate in their second match. Thursday's victory earned them top spot with 6 points, same as Con Caliphate, but the Wolves advanced on superior goal difference. The former Eyimba assistant coach also praised the support of Governor's brother, Delta State Sports Commissioner Honorable Joshua Oborevwori, as well as the club's management and other backroom supporters. Aloma further disclosed that preparations for life in the Npfl have already begun. Now a recap on our headlines. Tinubu lauds Niger Delta youths and women for their support. Ogiaboro ACC hands over authority to Chief Party as he approves IDIMIS-based selection process for youth election. Fire raises Igbudu market, shops and destroys properties as petrol storage tank fire kills 2 in Koko community. Senate orders 200 million naira compensation for Delta toddler killed by NDLEA straight bullet. Davido and Charlie Poppy headline 2025 Afro Nation in Portugal. Dangote claims NNPC refineries may never function again. Judge blocks Trump's birthright order after Supreme Court ruling. Warri Wolves coach Aloma dedicates Npfl return to Governor Oborevwori. That's the news as detailed by Timiola Emanuela. I am Matu Okwaimitorishe. Thanks for watching.